Bandolero against Brian Adias.
Brian Adias, very, very popular here in the GWF. El Bandolero, one of the Lucha Libre wrestlers from south of the border in Mexico. Should be a great match.
Victor Gonzalez against Mike Davis.
Well, Mike Davis is an accomplished tag team wrestler. He is also a light heavyweight, but I don't know that he's ever wrestled singly for a light heavyweight championship. He's going to try and take that first step today in the tournament.
So far, 4 men have advanced, including Chaz.
Chaz, a very impressive debut in the light heavyweight tournament. He's going to go places, I think.
We will also see the Lightning Kid in round number 2.
Well, the Lightning Kid is blessed with arrogance, as they say down at the Fire Hall. Let's see how far he can go with that attitude, but he is a talented wrestler.
We didn't know much about him when he arrived, but we sure do know that the ladies like him.
Oh, boy.
The handsome stranger.
The handsome one. The handsome stranger really made a big impression here at the Global Dome. He could be a sleeper.
Making a big impression at the concession stands and in the ring, Hustler Rip Rogers. We will see all the first round action as we recap the opening round matches when we return. Chaz sending Robinson back into the ring. Chaz a little bit dazed. Robinson takes advantage, being the first man to his feet, the forearm to the back.
We don't know an awful lot about Ed Robinson, but he's looked quite impressive against Chaz. As you said earlier, Craig, Chaz has held a couple of regional light heavyweight titles, so he is experienced in this line of wrestling. We don't know a lot about Ed Robinson, but he certainly is really handing it to this regional champion in there, Chaz. Give Robinson a lot of credit.
Robinson may not have any gold around his waist, but right now he's trying to take a little bit of the precious medal possibilities away from Chaz. Chaz going for the headlock. Bulldogs him straight down. Chaz really fatigued here, but is getting the best of Robinson. Oh, tried to go for the backdrop. Robinson tried to fight out of it. Chaz still got him over top. Comes down with the elbow. And Chaz picks up Robinson. That might be a mistake. But obviously it wasn't.
He's really winded in there, Craig. You can tell that both of these men really spent physically under these hot television lights.
He goes up to the top. Could be the chastiser. Oh, no. Got him with the flying drop kick off the top rope. Count of 3 by Rick Manning, and Chaz will move on in the tournament. Going out to the kid. Oh, beautiful knee lift. Reminiscent of Mr. Wrestling number 2. Only a count of 1 is the kid. Has his wits about him, gets the hands on the bottom rope.
One of the tricks of the trade, know where you are in the ring at all times. It is an automatic break if you grab hold of the rope. Whether that's fair or not, whether that's a cheap way out, that can be argued. But when you're grabbing hold of those ropes, the other man has to release the hold, and the kid knew where he was.
The Lightning Kid having the inner thigh worked on by Bubba Fangman as he has him in what looks to be the start of a figure 4, but right now it's just a toe hold. Putting pressure on the knee, however. Oh. And the kid says, hey, here's a way to get out of it.
Oh, boy.
What is that? He's not the Karate Kid. The Lightning Kid I know about. Karate Kid I saw on HBO. And there it is, the belly-to-back suplex. Count of 2. Some places that's called the dragonfly suplex.
Absolutely.
Into the ropes goes Bubba Fangman. The kid misses with a clothesline. Comes back with a spinning leg kick. Rolls him over in the half Nelson. Count of 1, count of 2. But Fangman gets the shoulder. No, count of 3. Picks him up, backdrop, sending him over. The stranger adjusting the mask. May have been feeling the effects of the shots to the midsection there, but goes right back to work. Snaps him over and keeps the pressure on the temples.
What is the significance here, Craig? And you may know, I certainly don't, of tying the ribbons or whatever it is around the bicep area of the arms on the handsome stranger. What's the significance of that?
All I know is that if I tied ribbons around my biceps, they'd slide all the way down to my wrist.
That's well, that's not an answer to the question, but it's one I'll accept. Mine are the same way. Looks something along the lines of tinsel on a bare Christmas tree. As far as I'm concerned,
keeping the headlock on the balding head of Mr. Black. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know how sensitive.
No offense taken.
Blackheart trying to take a little bit out of the chest of the handsome stranger. Oh, pretty kick by the stranger, who once again is feeling the effects of the shots to the midsection. Tries one of his own. Locks in the side headlock. Sets him up for a suplex. No, this stranger is going to send this man to the showers.
Maybe a little of that Muck and Sing influence in Rip Rogers, taking matters outside of the ring onto the stage here. That's something we could expect to see out of Muck and Sing, so maybe a little cross-training there between these two men of the cartel.
Evans goes in big boot coming up by Rip Rogers. Rogers sets him up for the suplex and nails it. Admiration Society of One, courtesy of the Hustler. And a headbutt between the shoulder blades. Thinks he has the cover. Count of one, count of two.
He's his own biggest fan, Craig. No doubt about that. Thought he should have had the three into the real pinning combination and not just some pose down in there. He would have had it.
Evans able to reverse. Rip meeting the turnbuckle a little bit more than he'd like to.
Oh, boy.
By now, they're best friends. Evans, reversal by Rip Rogers. Gets him set up. The hustle. Rip Rogers, a man stuck in the 70s, loves to do the hustle, and this dance is over.
Global Wrestling fans, the winner of the match, Rip Rogers.
When Rogers puts the hustle on you, you can say goodnight.
I'll take care of anybody because the boss said.
Wrestling fan, the mail that has been coming in to the Global Wrestling Federation, one of the most asked questions is of this man, and that is, why does the GWF allow a heart punch? Well, he says it's not a heart punch, it's a bully blaster.
Joe Pedicino, as one of the most knowledgeable men in the wrestling world in the Global Wrestling Federation, you happen to know that I have presented fact after fact to the committees of the Global Wrestling Federation. Now, in those facts, I clearly explained certain details to the bully blaster, by the way, not the heart punch.
How dangerous is this bully blaster?
It's very simple. As you've seen in diagrams, since you brought the question up, you have certain criteria to the heart by the ventricles suitable by all situations. Now, what you have is level number one, which right here is no problem. The man goes down. Number two, number three, number four, you figure it out.
All right, it's the bully blaster, and I'll tell you, his opponents say it's very dangerous.
There you see the popular Steve Simpson getting ready for this light heavyweight championship tournament against a man who I think tips the scales right about at that 237-pound mark.
It's got to be real close for Stetson getting into this light heavyweight tournament, Craig. Steve Simpson way under the limit. No problem him meeting the weight, and he is going to have the experience factor in this match. Great to see Steve Simpson back. He's been on a worldwide tour, now back here in North America, and he is fit as a fiddle and ready to go, as they say.
As a matter of fact, part of that worldwide tour, his home, South Africa, and I was talking to him before the matches. He is so happy to see the way progress has been made over there. Don't mean to be getting into politics here, but it's a good thing. They're back in the Olympics. It's great to see.
Great to see South Africa back in the Olympics. As evidenced by Steve Simpson, they produce some terrific athletes. Maybe seeing more wrestlers coming from South Africa here over the next few years with all the changes happening over there.
Side headlock and a shortcut by Mike Stetson as he uses the hair to get into a leg scissors on the head of Steve Simpson.
And you know, Steve Simpson has the long, flowing locks of hair. It looks great, and sometimes it can help you with the old romantic thing the handsome stranger is so good at. But it's got to be a detriment in the ring, Craig. It gets in your own face, blocks your own vision, and it's just like that. Stetson can just reach up and grab a handful of hair. I wonder if he's given any thought to cutting those flowing golden locks.
I know in the past there have been some wrestlers who have wanted to cut them themselves. Full Nelson being applied by Steve Simpson on Mike Stetson. Simpson, well, if Simpson's weight was any bit of a factor there, all of it just came tumbling down.
Not a very good wrestling move there by Mike Stetson. Thought he was going to be real cute, put both feet up on a ropes, make sure the referee saw it, so Simpson would have to break, and Simpson did. And we saw what happened to Stetson. Great counter wrestling there by Steve Simpson.
Simpson can brawl with the best of them as he uses the fist right onto the chin.
Right in the old bread basket, they all used to call that.
Pulls him over, keeping that headlock locked in tight. Count of 1 by Rick Manning, our official in this tournament matchup, first round matchup.
I'm going to go weigh myself on the same scale Stetson got on to get into this tournament.
Well, let me explain something about how the weights are done. Yes, they do have a scale back in the dressing room, but it's also the Bureau of Weights and Measures also has their own system whereby they can say this scale is certified, and the man can have a sheet that says this man weighs this much, notarized, everything's all set, and that may be how Mr. Stetson got under the weight limit.
I didn't know Rip Rogers was in the freelance weighing business.
Could very well be. Nice drop takedown. Now folding up those limbs of Mike Stetson and Steve Simpson. Give it up. Putting pressure on the knee, and there's a possible submission hold. If he keeps it applied long enough, putting pressure not only to the ankle, but to the knee.
You would have to consider Steve Simpson to be one of the odds-on favorites in this light heavyweight tournament, Craig. He has vast experience wrestling as a light heavyweight, where some of these other larger wrestlers like Mike Stetson, like John Tatum, have never really wrestled a strictly light heavyweight curriculum, if you will. They wrestle the big guys, the little guys, the bigger guys. Steve Simpson has almost had a career of wrestling light and heavyweights. He's held a couple of heavyweight titles, but he is very, very experienced in the light heavyweight rank. He's got to be a favorite.
Armbar, now step over, try to flip him over and gets the man over. Mike Stetson has been taking a lot of punishment courtesy of the man from South Africa. And now more pressure on the shoulder, the elbow. Oh, my! Yikes!
Great shot by the camera crew here at the Global Dome, Greg. We saw Simpson just plant that number 12 boot right in the old push of Mike Stetson. That's got to hurt. Look at the look of intensity on the face of the South African, Steve Simpson.
More punishment onto that arm. Once again, the continental situation as far as wrestlers from a different continent coming into the Global Wrestling Federation. Apparent as Simpson style, quite different from the American catch-as-catch-can style that we're used to seeing.
Absolutely, and also different from the Mexican lucha libre style, the European, the English style of Adrian Street.
Who we will be seeing up next.
Absolutely. We're seeing so many different wrestlers from so many different parts of the world. It's truly a global wrestling federation.
Stetson gets to his feet. Simpson backed up to the ropes. And not a clean break. Oh! What chops by Stetson, and Simpson says, okay, you want to try that? I've got a background in that kind of move. Simpson in control with a side headlock once again.
In South Georgia, we would say Steve Simpson didn't just fall off the turnip truck. He knows what's going on in that ring. He's been around a couple of times. He can handle somebody like Mike Stetson.
And now a way to take the wind out of Stetson, and now trying to take him on a ride.
Beautiful move by Simpson.
Count of one. Twice, and Stetson would like to be able to get out of this. May try to lean back and put Simpson in the pitting predicament.
And once again, as you mentioned earlier, Craig, and you are absolutely right, it's the different styles of wrestling from the different parts of the world. We don't see that type of maneuver there by any of the American wrestlers. Steve Simpson brings it over from South Africa. We'll probably see it in every match from here on out.
Get him in the ring. Right now, the American brawling of Mike Stetson taking Steve Simpson out of the ring. And there's one way to keep a man from getting to his feet. That's to take one of the limbs away, which Simpson does there. Now, with one bad wheel, Simpson going to work, goes in. Monkey flip. Simpson now moves his way to the outside of the ring. Up to the top rope. The high flyer from South Africa. Cross body block. Count of one. Count of two. Count of three. Steve Simpson will advance.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of this event, Steve Simpson!
Simpson with a win. They talk about a change in styles. Adrian Street against Iceman King Parsons next. Coming in right at 237 pounds, the Iceman King Parsons to go against exotic Adrian Street. The Rudy Pooch stick, well in hand.
The Rudy Pooch stick, huh? There's two great classes of style, Craig. The Rudy Pooch stick toting Iceman King Parsons against the exotic Adrian Street. Really a different type of match. We're going to see just the unconventional. How can you describe Iceman Parsons against the classic European style of Adrian Street? A great match.
Two men who have been world heavyweight champions, former world-class heavyweight champion Iceman King Parsons against a man who held the world heavyweight championship from the Europe organization in exotic Adrian Street. Adrian Street not knowing exactly how to take the Iceman. All I know is their two outfits do definitely clash.
Absolutely. And I'm almost positive we're not going to let the Iceman hang on to that Rudy Pooch stick in the ring. No way, shape, form, or fashion there. Iceman going to have to lose that foreign object before we get started here.
I looked up Rudy Pooch in the dictionary just before our airtime today. Didn't find it.
Well, you weren't looking at the right dictionary, apparently.
Well, this will be interesting. Adrian Street skipping along.
And if you think he's doing that for comedy, try doing that yourself, unless you're in a second-floor apartment. That is not easy to do.
Well, the Iceman says this is the way we do it back home in St. Louis, Missouri. Well, when these two guys lock up, I don't know which one will lose their temper first. Iceman has the shortest temper that I know of. I've felt the wrath of the Iceman on more than one occasion.
You can leave the attachment off here, Craig, because there's so much flash in the ring, you won't need it to take a picture of these guys.
Hammerlock being applied by Adrian Street. Clean break. And Parsons having a few words with senior official Sean O'Brien.
Look at the design in the back of the Iceman's hair. That's impressive. Looks like an eagle. Maybe he's a big fan of the Patriot. You never know.
For some reason, I don't think so.
Probably not, yeah. But nonetheless, an impressive haircutting job there on the back of the head of Iceman King Parsons.
I think King Parsons would like nothing better than to cut down to size exotic Adrian Street. And Street brings him down.
He beats him to it right down on the mat, and it's an old cliche, Craig, but it's still valid. You're all the same height when you're on the mat.
And right now, Parsons wanting to keep Street on the mat. Parsons throws Street out onto the floor, and now Parsons once again getting into it with the official, using the hardwood floor of the interview set here at the Global Dome. To his advantage is Iceman King Parsons. Watch out for that Rudy Pooch stick. It's awfully close. You never know when the Iceman will go to that tactic.
It's within hand's reach of the Iceman, Craig. An excellent point there. And again, that stage is made to hold up lots of people standing around talking, doing interviews. It's not meant to wrestle on. That's extra foreign object use by the Iceman. He might as well get the Rudy Pooch stick out. It's probably not as dangerous as that stage is.
Draped over the top rope. Exotic Adrian Street. As the Iceman using all of his 237 pounds on top of him. Headbutt, which the Iceman is known for. Some strutting and some cutting from the man who earned his name from carrying ice in the old ice houses up in St. Louis.
Come on.
Right now, Parsons sends him through the ropes again. Now this time the Iceman will take an alternate route around the ring. Street has no idea he's back there until a greeting comes from Parsons. My, oh my, you can hear that in the ice houses.
Huge chop by the Iceman King Parsons. You could hear that out in the parking lot here at the Global Dome, Craig. And it's in Adrian Street, and watch this. Adrian Street fell back into the ring step. That's a chop in the chest and a step in the back. It's a double whammy and another chop.
You can hear that chop in the satellite parking lot here at the Global Dome, the one you need the shuttle from.
Oh, boy.
Now.
Oh, no.
Is he going to try a pile driver on the floor? Tries to get Street up, but no. Street able to flip him over. Now the exotic one going to work. Once again, Street using those uppercuts and now going to work with those exotic boots. That uppercut with a forearm has such force, and right now it's getting the best of the Iceman as you get the flip look, so to speak, right down on top of the two competitors. Street has had about enough.
And look at the Iceman begging off of the exotic Adrian Street. He'll have none of it. He takes the action right back to him, but don't count the Iceman out here. He's been around too long to beg off and really mean it. I don't think that was sincere.
Right now, Street going to work. And Street thrown over the top. And Street will get the victory.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the match is Adrian Street.
We'll be back in the news center next.
In only one appearance, Iceman Parsons makes his presence known in the GWF. Hello, everybody. I'm Joe Pedicino here in the newsroom, backstage at the Global Wrestling Federation. And that's right, the Iceman has made his presence known already. There is a verbal feud going on between Interim Commissioner Max Andrews and the Iceman King Parsons. It seems that Parsons feels like he should be able to bring that Rudy Pooch stick to the ring. Max Andrews says they may have to bar it. Iceman says if he can't bring the Rudy Pooch, he just might not come himself. Already a verbal confrontation between the commissioner and Iceman Parsons. And Iceman Parsons is in no rush, he says, to have a decision made on this because he says he's going to continue bringing that. There's no rule to say he can't bring it, so therefore, he says he's bringing it with him. All right, speaking of rules, we're going to talk about the changes in the rules in the Global Wrestling Federation. The rules are a little bit different because of the global situation with the GWF. For one thing, over the top rope is not an automatic disqualification. It seems that the wrestlers themselves requested this rule. In the old days, when the wrestlers were a little bit smaller, over the top rope most of the time was the end of a bout because the wrestler could not get back into the ring. But with the size and the stamina of the wrestlers today, they want to get back in and continue the match. So therefore, the GWF says over the top rope is not an automatic DQ. Now, there will be a 20 count to get back into the ring when a wrestler goes out to the floor. If he's on the ring apron, it's a 10 count. And as always, he has a 5 count to break when the referee says it's an illegal hold. Moving on to the WCW right now, the Steiner brothers have been stripped of their World Tag Team titles due to an injury to Scott Steiner. We want to wish him well. I am being told, though, it's possible he may be out for as long as 5 months. There will be a tournament held to fill that situation. Next time, we'll talk about the tag team tournament coming to the GWF. Interestingly enough, it comes about because of an almost similar situation. We'll see you next time from the newsroom.
In the Global Dome, Bonnie Blackstone taking an opportunity to chat with some of our GWF fans here. I'm with Clarine, and I know that you've been admiring the red, white, and blue making its way down the entrance ramp here to the Global Dome. You had a question for the Patriot.
Yes, I wanted to ask him what it felt like to be the television champion.
All right, later on in this edition, I will be talking with the Patriot, and he's going to answer Clarine's question and let everybody know what it feels like to don that big television belt here in the GWF.
Brian Adias getting set to take on the man from Mexico, El Bandolero. A bad man from south of the border.
Brian Adias. There's a good look at El Bandolero from Mexico. Brian Adias, 13 years as a professional wrestler. That experience has got to pay off, got to make him a favorite going in through here in this light heavyweight tournament.
Adias, who has held many titles, including some World Tag Team Championships.
He certainly has.
Going against a mysterious man from south of the border.
You know, we hear from a lot of fans, Craig, about this tournament, about the light heavyweight tournament, that, well, it's just the light heavyweights. You know, we want the big guys. We want the real heavyweights. Let me tell you something. These men are double tough. They can handle themselves with the big guys, and don't ever forget this. Evander Holyfield was at one time the light heavyweight boxing champion, and he now reigns supreme over the boxing world. So the light heavyweight championship certainly a stepping stone to the heavyweight title.
Collar and elbow tie up. Nice toss there by Brian Adias as he gets them in the front face lock, rolls it over, but El Bandolero trying to vamonos there.
Light heavyweight title. Some of the greatest names in wrestling. Danny Hodge, one-time light heavyweight champion. Great athlete from Oklahoma. Hiro Matsuda, another light heavyweight champion. So nothing to be in second place about, if you would, about the light heavyweight crown. Very respected title in the world of professional wrestling.
El Bandolero going to the air thanks to Brian Adias, and now the side headlock pulls him over, and El Bandolero finds himself on the canvas having pressure put on him by Brian Adias.
We don't know a lot about Bandolero. He's from Mexico, part of that lucha libre style of wrestling. But as with most wrestlers in the lucha libre in Mexico, they wear the mask. They're sources of pride, sources of ego, if you will, for these men from south of the border. So hence we don't know an awful lot about the background and even how to really begin to look for El Bandolero. He's a mysterious man in there. I guess the man we know an awful lot about, and that's Brian Adias.
I think in the case of El Bandolero, it's to keep away from the many authorities that may be coming after him.
Oh, federales.
They haven't caught up to him yet either, because obviously He's in the ring on television going against Brian Adias, who got him in the pinning predicament there, but only good for a count of 1 by referee Rick Manning. First round action in the Global Wrestling Federation Light Heavyweight Championship Tournament.
And Craig, we can't stress enough, just like with the television title tournament, many wrestlers sent in applications and videotapes and resumes, if you will, to enter into this tournament to the Global Wrestling Federation offices in Barcelona, Spain. The championship committee, the competition committee, in conjunction with each other, put together the tournament from roughly about 110 names that came into the office to pick the 24 best to start this tournament, and I think they did a great job.
Snapmare by Brian Adias. Now using the knee right into the sternum. That will take the wind out of you, but apparently left enough wind in El Bandolero to allow him to kick out. Front face lock now turned into the hammerlock on the reversal by El Bandolero. Brian Adias out of Lake Dallas, Texas. A 4-year veteran on the University of Texas at Arlington, moving Mavs in college. Also won some Southland Conference track championships. Very good when you're a light heavyweight to have that track background, no doubt about it.
Absolutely, because it gives you endurance. When you run track, you run the distance events, even the sprint events, you build up that endurance. You can go for minutes and minutes in wrestling, minutes, hours and hours if necessary. You don't become winded as quick as the bigger wrestlers do, and thus you can wrestle a better match for a longer period of time. The stamina is a key to the light heavyweight tournament.
Aerobic conditioning is what the people around my health club like to call it.
Oh, that's a new Richard Simmons video, isn't it?
No, I don't think so. El Bandolero dancing out of that situation. Collar and elbow tie up in the corner. And will we see a clean break? Depends how frustrated Adias might be, or if... No, Bandolero taking advantage with a forearm to the back of the neck, now raking in the back.
Adias looked like he was going to break clean there. Probably was. Bandolero wouldn't even give him the opportunity to. Took the cheap shot, took the shortcut.
Now Adias. Maybe he's had enough. Sends Bandolero into the ropes. The elbow right onto the chin. Roll up. Count of 1. Count of 2 by Rick Manning.
Well, you know from past experience, Craig, that Brian Adias is not above taking a few shortcuts himself. If the opportunity presents itself and the need arises, he can go toe-to-toe with El Bandolero if he wants to. My advice to El Bandolero, don't do it with Brian Adias.
We'll have some words from Steve Simpson coming up after this match. Actually, after the break. Trying to break something there, El Bandolero. Couple of thumbs into the eyes and the elbow by Bandolero. Bandolero obviously hasn't trimmed the fingernails lately. Now going to work.
Right, Floyd! Off the rope.
Obviously, Bandolero taking every shortcut he can.
Brian Adias noticeably thinner than the last time we saw him here in the Global Wrestling Federation. He has lost a lot of weight. He's got himself in great physical condition. Wanted to meet the weight requirements for the light heavyweight division. Went just a few pounds lower than that. Met it with no problem, and he's a better wrestler at the lighter weight, Craig. He certainly can float over, carry himself. There's 2 and 3. Brian Adias, just as we're talking about the stamina and the quickness, he gets the victory over El Bandolero.
Back with you once again in the Global Dome, Bonnie Blackstone, along with the Patriot, the television champion here at the Global Wrestling Federation, recently crowned after that big coup de grace, you might say, against Buddy Landale, a tournament of all tournaments. One of our fans earlier, a young lady, wanted to know exactly what is it like being the television champion here in the GWF, Patriot?
well, it exceeds everything or anything that I ever thought. It's the greatest feeling I've ever had, not because of personal satisfaction for myself, but because of all the great people that I represent, because as the GWF goes across this great country of ours, and as I meet the great Americans, true heroes in this great land of ours, it gives me a great feeling to sense the patriotism and the pride that they have in this country. And not only us, but for me and the person that they feel like represents them the best. So it's a great and wonderful feeling for me, dear, to represent all you great people of the United States of America.
He is the GWF television champion. He's the Patriot. He's waving the red, white, and blue in the Global Wrestling Federation, and hopefully in your hometown very, very soon.
Lots of great action today here on Supercard, and I am with Wild Bill Irwin. And Bill, I know that things are really popping, if you will, here in the GWF. And you asked me a question a while ago about the heavyweight tournament. I'm going to ask you a question about the tag team tournament. Are you going to be entered in that?
Why, of course I'm going to be entered in that. You know, Wild Bill is here with a smile because he's here for a while. Because the heavyweight is going to be coming up and the tag team tournament is coming up. And what am I going to do with all of the belts I'm going to be carrying around here pretty soon?
Well, I have a question. The fans have been asking, and it's time to find out. Why do you have to carry the whip to the ring?
Why do I have to carry the whip?
We have seen you use that whip in a match, and if you get caught, you know it's going to be a DQ.
This is my partner. Maybe I won't have to have a two-legged partner in any of these matches. Maybe I'll just have this hanging in the corner, and anytime I need to tag, woo, there it is.
All right, he's Wild Bill Irwin.
Mike Davis getting set to go against Victor Gonzalez. Mike Davis from Nashville, Victor Gonzalez from Harlingen, Texas. There you see Mike Davis entering the ring, getting ready to go against Victor Gonzalez in our next match, the light heavyweight championship tournament.
Mike Davis has traveled the world, Craig, with other federations. He's been to Puerto Rico. He has been to Japan. He's been to Mexico. He is well-versed in just about every different style of wrestling there is out there. I'm sure he's been to England and been to Austria to work those type of styles before, too. So Mike Davis may be from Nashville, Tennessee, but his wrestling hometown is the entire globe, and that's why he's such an asset here in the Global Wrestling Federation. He can do it all. Interesting to see how he's going to approach the match with Gonzalez.
The opponent in the very fancily fringed, that's hard to say.
Very good.
Victor Gonzalez, who's accused of a hair pull by Mike Davis. Davis, a roughhouser.
That's a mean look right there.
Known for his tag team prowess, but looked at the fence and I don't need any help in this one. Light heavyweight matchups are my specialty. Has a slight height advantage on Gonzalez, but Gonzalez able to reverse. And the grimace by Mike Davis. He says, I want out of this one.
Get him off of it! Hey!
And he's obviously trying to help senior official Sean O'Brien with his job there, telling O'Brien to get him off me, I think the exact terminology used in that situation. Look at Davis, though, Craig. The last time we saw Mike Davis didn't have the physique he has now. He actually, you can see some development in there on the man. He's put himself together, been in that gym.
Allow you to survive a hammerlock if it's placed on properly, which it was that time by Victor Gonzalez. Once again, shut up! Was he talking to you or to me there?
I hope neither one of us, to be honest with you.
Claiming a pull of the tights.
Listen, old man.
Davis missing just a few of those molars in there when he opens his mouth to yell at the fans. You could just about whistle Dixie by blowing through his lips. Oh, he doesn't like this cheering for Victor Gonzalez. It did not take Mike Davis long to establish exactly which side of the fence he wanted to be on with these fans.
Clothesline, well executed by Gonzalez. Chases Davis, and once again, here's a situation of a wrestler thinking there's a timeout rule in wrestling.
Oh, no.
Not the last time I checked.
We know better than that. Page 1, I think, in the rule book is the no timeout rule.
Well, I know that there are a lot of people who would like to see it put into wrestling, but I just don't quite know how it would work. Might be an interesting experiment on down the line, but who knows? Right now, the man wanting timeout, Victor Gonzalez. Giving him no break is Mike Davis.
This is for Mexico!
Oh! Claiming that knee lift was for Mexico.
Well, they don't need his help.
Request and dedication hour almost coming to an end there after a count of 2 by Sean O'Brien. O'Brien and Davis not becoming the best of friends here. Shot by Davis. And the chop right into the ribs. Davis one more time. Snapmare by Mike Davis now. Oh, that boot comes right down. I don't know whether that hit the nose or the forehead.
And it doesn't matter if you're in Puerto Rico, Austria, England, wherever Mike Davis is. If you're laying on the ground face up and he puts his foot in your face, it's going to hurt. I think that's a given anywhere he wrestles.
Davis thinks he has this one won, but didn't put enough pressure on the cover.
He didn't have an argument with Sean O'Brien there. He knew it was his own fault. He didn't go for a full cover on Gonzalez.
Double arm front face lock now slips it into a side front face lock, bringing him down, trying to almost bulldog him down there. Davis from Harlingen, Texas.
Maybe he just doesn't like Mexico. He wrestles the Patriot, he'll dedicate it to Canada. What type of mentality we've got here with this guy?
Davis with the upper hand here. Now trying to, I guess, give Mr. Gonzalez a guided tour of the top rope.
He got it all right.
Davis has things apparently well in hand, although Gonzalez could always pick up that second win. We've seen a lot of wrestlers here in the first round of the tournament look like they may be out, but be able to come back.
Great work by our camera crew here at the Global Dome, although I'm sure Victor Gonzalez not that happy with it.
Davis just punishing the man.
Have we seen Davis this relentless, this brutal? In recent years, we have not. He is much more intense in the ring, much more brutal with the opponent. Gone are the high-flying days, the fancy moves. He's just beating this man up.
Davis getting set for the suplex, gets it. Mike Davis, I believe, thinks this one is over. But you're not going to pin a man with a cover like that. Don't have to be an intelligent wrestling fan to know that one. And now, gets him set up. Could it be? Yes! Legomatic! Right down to the back.
Wow.
Of Gonzalez. Count of 1, count of 2, count of 3. No doubt about that.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the match, Mike Davis.
We'll talk to the master of the Legomatic when we return.
You're looking at the best.
The first round now complete in the Light Heavyweight Championship Tournament. The man who got the last spot available, Mike Davis, standing by with Scott Hudson.
Fans, Mike Davis has had a storied career as a tag team wrestler, and he is now in the GWF, but he's here as a singles competitor. Mr. Davis, are you here as a single competitor, or are you looking for a partner?
How do you know what I'm here for?
Well, that was the question that I posed to you, sir. I was just...
You know, I've been called a lot of things in professional wrestling. Devious, dirty, devastating. But the one thing you can't do is trust me, pal.
Okay, I think that's a fair enough statement, Mr. Davis. If you would, please, sir, you've had a good career as a tag team wrestler. But now with the light heavyweight tournament, you're progressing in that. But are you looking ahead to the tag team tournament? Are you looking for a partner to go after the GWF Tag Team Championships?
I'm always looking for one thing. Something that's going to make me more money. Yeah, I've got somebody in mind, but it's none of your business, and it's sure not none of this idiot's business.
Well,
I guess that's
all right. We have some more to say, though. The last spots in that light heavyweight championship tournament are now complete. Steve Simpson with a win.
Steve Simpson, great to have him back. He's been on a worldwide tour, Europe, Africa, all with the GWF. Now he's back in North America with the GWF, looking for that light heavyweight title.
Exotic Adrian Street gets the win over Iceman King Parsons.
What a match between the Exotic one, Adrian Street, and the return of the Iceman King Parsons. Iceman King Parsons squeaking in under that 237-pound weight limit for the light heavyweight division. Regardless, Adrian Street advances.
Brian Adias, another guy that may be more used to tag team wrestling, holding some championships there, like Mike Davis.
Right.
Wins in the light heavyweight championship tournament. He moves on.
Brian Adias has had a good career as a tag team wrestler, but we've got to remember one thing, as we talked about during the match, Craig. Brian Adias has always been a light heavyweight. He has never had to wrestle in that upper division. He is going to have the experience of wrestling the light heavyweight style match, and that is going to give him a little edge. He could be a dark horse in this tournament.
For Bonnie Blackstone, Joe Pedicino, and Scott Hudson, I'm Craig Johnson. We will see you next time as we begin round number 2. There are only 12 competitors left in this tournament. And as the days progress, you will see exactly who will have the light heavyweight championship belt placed around their waist. We'll see you next time on Supercard. Until then, so long, everybody.